Welcome back to my YouTube channel. The movie is set in the near future, after the end of a great war called the Ruin. Civilization collapsed and over 90% of the population perished. Some people in North America built a community, one of true equality, whose building blocks are a set of rules. All the children born in the community learn rules like using precise language, only wearing clothes assigned to them, taking morning injections, obeying the curfew, always telling the truth, etc. No one in the community has a last name, and all of their memories have been wiped out. In their world, differences are not allowed, and there is no fame, no losers, and no winners. The elders eliminated all of that so that there would be no conflict between anyone. Color, fear, pain, envy, and hate are alien to them, and the past history of mankind has been concealed forever. It is a world without PewDiePie. The movie follows the story of a young teenager named Jonas and his best friends, Asher and Fiona, as they are ushered into adulthood. Adulthood is a big deal, especially for this community, because it is when children are assigned a job that they will have to carry out for the rest of their lives. Asher and Fiona are excited about the graduation, but Jonas is nervous as he still doesn't know his purpose and feels lost. Jonas has always felt different from other children. He sees things differently than others. Asher is the joker of the group, while Fiona is someone who makes everyone smile. It is the day before the graduation ceremony, and the three friends are at the nurturing center for their volunteer work. Because things like love and relationships are forbidden in this community, all humans are genetically engineered. Newly born babies are kept in this center, intended to by a team of medical staff and volunteers. They are then assigned to a family where they will continue living until they become adults. Fiona loves working with children, and she wishes the elders would give her some job at the nurturing center. Jonas's father, David, who works at the center, asks Fiona to calm a crying baby if she really has what it takes to become a nurse. To his surprise, she effortlessly does this with a simple touch of her hand. David then reveals that the baby's name is Gabe and that he is just 3 months old. After finishing their shift, the trio returns to their homes before the curfew. In the next scene, Jonas is having dinner with his family, where he suddenly asks his parents if they were nervous before they were assigned to their current positions. However, David assures him that the elders have been watching him closely since he was a baby, so they know where to put him. Jonas's mother, Linda, then reveals that a local teacher has been to a rehabilitation camp of some sorts. When David asks if there was any other choice, she mentions that the other choice was a place called Elsewhere. The next day, at the annual ceremony of advancement, the chief elder of the community addresses the audience virtually through a hologram. After a while, the ceremony begins with the release of the elderly citizens who have spent all their lives working for the community. Now they will be sent to Elsewhere, where they will retire. It is followed by the assigning of the new children engineered by the community's geneticists. Finally, the chief elder assigns the adult kids to their positions. During the ceremony, Jonas notices an old man looking over at him. One by one, each kid gets their job. Asher is given the job of a drone pilot, while Fiona is assigned to be in the nurturing center, something she was dreaming of. Jonas eagerly waits for his turn, but he is skipped over and all the other kids are announced. In the end, Chief Elder finally calls out his name and reveals that he hasn't been assigned a job because he has been selected for something bigger. She states that Jonas has all 4 attributes: intelligence, integrity, courage, and an ability to look beyond, all of which convince the elders to select him as the new receiver of memories. She tells a puzzled Jonas that his training involves a lot of pain that he can't even fathom. At last, Jonas is given a triangular drive, and everybody starts chanting his name. The next day, Jonas heads for his training at a small house on the edge of the community cliff, overlooking a vast skyline. From now on, he is exempt from all rules governing rudeness. That means he can ask questions to people, lie to them, and even crack jokes. However, aside from his daily medicine, he can't receive other medicines, especially painkillers. He also can't discuss his training with anyone, not even his family. As Jonas slowly enters the house, he comes across a large library, where he meets the old man from the ceremony. The man is the giver, who will pass on memories of the past to the receiver. These memories are the secret history of the world, dating generations back. No one else in the community has a history of the past, and when the elders require any guidance on matters that are beyond their experience, the giver provides wisdom. Wasting no time, the man grabs both of Jonas's wrists and sends him into a memory of snowy woods. There Jonas rides a sled down a snowy hill, something which he has never experienced or even heard of. Soon he comes across a mysterious-looking cabin, and the next second, Jonas snaps out of his memory. Amazed, he asks the giver why they don't have sleds or snow in their community, and the latter responds that it was a very distant memory, and there's no snow anymore because of climate control. He continues that sleds require snow, and snow requires cold, which destroys crops and makes transportation of food difficult. Jonas asks to see more, but the man takes him outside for some fresh air. During the walk, Jonas inquires about the person who was chosen to be the receiver before him, but the giver responds with silence. That night, baby Gabe is brought to Jonas's home by a nurse from the nurturing center. Still crying, the family has been assigned to watch over him until he catches. Meanwhile, Jonas notices a mark on Gabe's wrist, the same mark that he and the giver have on the exact same spot. This makes him realize that Gabe will also be selected as the receiver of memories someday. As the days pass, Jonas continues to train under the giver and stops taking his daily injections. Because of this, he experiences pain for the first time when he is bitten by a bee in his memory. He also starts seeing colors around him. Later, Jonas meets up with his friends for a brief reunion. Asher talks about how he's been able to fly the drones close to elsewhere. He describes it as an isolated place with two rocks touching at the top, forming a triangle. After a while, Asher heads to work, and the other two start having fun. They slide down a slope and scream out loud, disturbing everyone in the area. At the bottom of the slope, Jonas goes over to help Fiona up, but a voice through the PA system announces that they cannot touch people outside their family unit. I know what you're thinking, Jonas, but you can't receive that. Meanwhile, the giver meets with the chief elder over his training with Jonas. She warns him to take it easy with the boy, reminding him to not repeat the mistake he made with the last receiver, who apparently committed the unthinkable. In the next session, Jonas finds a map on the library floor. In it, he notices his home and the triangular rock that Asher told him about. The cliff is marked as a boundary of the memory. Jonas wonders if the memories will be released if a receiver crosses the boundary. As he continues inquiring about it, the giver changes the topic and shows Jonas a piano, which amazes him. Giver reveals that the daily injections take away emotions of the community members and make them dull. Saying this, he holds Jonas's hand and takes him to a party place where people are dancing and having a great time. There Jonas also sees himself kissing Fiona passionately. Over the course of the next few days, Jonas experiences all the wonders and calamities of the ancient world. He learns about different religions, cultures, and even witnesses a child being born. The giver warns him about the tremendous cruelty of the past, but Jonas insists on seeing more. His wish is eventually granted, but little did he know about the horrors he is going to witness. When Jonas sees an elephant being brutally shot down, he breaks into tears. That night at home, Jonas notices Fiona combing her hair through his window and feels a weird sensation. He thinks about it for a while and finally realizes that he is in love. Later, he asks his parents if they love him, but Linda tells him to use precise language. She mentions that the word is antiquated and that it no longer has any application. However, Jonas becomes obsessed with the word and tells baby Gabe that he loves him, causing the latter to smile. The next day, Jonas finds the giver collapsed on the floor. Worried, he rushes to his side and grabs his hand. Just then, Jonas witnesses a memory where he finds himself in the position of a soldier. His partner has been gunned down, and there are dead bodies everywhere. Terrified by what he just saw, Jonas storms out of the house immediately, despite the giver's attempts to stop him. In a flashback sequence, it is revealed that the previous receiver, a teenage girl named Rosemary, was also distraught by the images that she saw. Later, Jonas meets Fiona and angrily tells her that he is quitting his job. This, of course, doesn't sit well with Fiona, so she reminds him of the punishment for quitting, which is being sent away to elsewhere. However, Jonas could care less, and he instead advises her to stop taking her morning injections. That numbed the emotions. He also asks her to meet in the triangle the next day. Fiona agrees, but only under the condition that he will return to his job. In the next scene, Jonas returns to his training house, where he sees a memory of the giver playing the piano alongside Rosemary. As he watches in shock, the real giver explains that after witnessing death, Rosemary became so horrified that she asked to be released from her duty. Hearing this, Jonas assumes that she is still alive and elsewhere, but the giver tells him that elsewhere is death. He then shows Jonas a video projection of his father in the nurturing center with a baby that is deemed too weak. In the video, David injects something into the baby's head, killing it instantly. The strange thing is that he doesn't even know what he is doing. David is simply carrying out his work that he was assigned to. Jonas is taken aback by the revelation, and he argues that people should be given their memory so that they know what they're doing. However, the giver tells him that he can't do anything about it. The next morning, Jonas meets Fiona and gets to know that she took his advice and skipped her injections.